Hey, Kyle, we're going to talk Argentina today. Finally.
Morning.
Good morning.
Finally.
Yeah, we've been trying to get this one going for quite a while. We've had technical issues. Then I had family stuff going on. And yeah, so little intro. Kyle and I both are going and hosting a trip end of this month. I leave on the 24th. When do you leave?
I'm actually leaving in 2 days.
Okay. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. My story is a little bit different though. So
Yeah, well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. You went last year. This is to Argentina with one of our premier outfitters. We've been sending hunters there for quite a while. Kyle went last year and checked it out himself. We actually did a podcast last year. And now that my wife and I are going and hosting a trip, it was her and I were going to watch that podcast, kind of refresh ourselves on everything and kind of get her feeling good about it. And I went to go look on our YouTube channel and where is that Argentina podcast that Kyle and I did? Looking around, couldn't find it. Well, there it is on my desktop, all edited, never uploaded.
it
And
happens.
I feel like an idiot, but anyway, we'll take care of it here.
There you go. Yeah. And like you said, we have been sending clients to our premier partners in Argentina for both free range and estate stag, as well as water buffalo for many, many years. The partner that you and I are going down to is an outfitter that we've worked with for quite a while. I personally went and hosted an entire exclusive lodge last year. And after I finally got down there myself personally, I was so impressed by the whole thing. I talked to our partner and just said, hey, what would it take for us to have exclusive outdoor international weeks, for us to come down and host every year, every other year going forward? So we had that conversation. And so from here out, every single year, we're going to have exclusive outdoor international weeks of just our clients. We can, of course, send our clients to any week, but obviously, if I'm going to be going down there personally and I want to say, hey, these are 10 really good clients or really good friends of mine that I'd like to personally invite to come hunt with me while I go and host there for the week, that's what that means, essentially, right? And after I went last year and told you about it, you mentioned you'd love to do that. So then I talked to our partner and said, hey, what would it take to do 2 weeks next year? And so he's all about it. He's all on board. Our business models really align and he loves working with us. So that's how we got to this point today of having 2 entire weeks at the 5-star lodge locked up for this season.
Wait, on that note, if anybody after they watch this, if they want to schedule for next year, I already have 3 people I think that are going to go, but what are the dates? Do you know for next season?
For 2026, I believe, let's see, it's the third or fourth week of March. And then right now for 2027, I have those dates solidified as well, but just reach out to us and we can talk dates and the options and stuff. Because one of the things we should talk about on the podcast is the difference between free range and estate stag, and then the timing for both, because the red stag roar takes place between March 10 and April 10. And for free range red stag, true free range red stag, it's critical to be there during the roar. However, for the estate stag, which the difference between free range and estate is a high fence, of course, even if it's a several thousand acre preserve, if you will, the estate stag will typically rut and roar a little bit later. So for those interested in an estate stag exclusively, we tend to schedule those mid-April rather than mid. So we do that a little bit differently. But yeah, so if someone's interested, give us a call. We'll talk about options. If somebody wants to add a water buffalo, I might pick a different date for you. If somebody just wants to do free range red stag, I might pick one date for you. Whether it's in our exclusive week or outside of our exclusive week, I'm going to recommend the best week for the package that you.
Right. Perfect. Besides, on the subject of the state stags, besides the obvious, what is the advantage and disadvantage to each, in your opinion?
I think it depends on first and foremost, what are your goals? And so we should touch on that. If somebody wants to shoot a true free range stag, true free range, generally speaking, that is going to be, let's just call it up to 300, up to 320 inch SCI. There are some exceptions. There are some regions that produce a little bit larger than others, but as a general rule of thumb, Also, it's going to be a much more challenging hunt, a lot more walking involved. The areas typically have more cover. So it's a much more challenging and demanding hunt to do the true free range. The estate, the advantage to that would be if someone wants to hunt less days, if somebody needs a more gentle terrain hunt inside the estate, and the location of the estate is going to be a little bit more convenient for getting around, a little bit more gentle terrain, less physically demanding. And of course, also if somebody wants to shoot a larger stag than a free range, if someone wants to shoot a 350-inch red stag, the reality is in most places that comes from an estate. And that's the same for a 400, a 450, those big 500, 600. I mean, which there's not very many of those around, truly. Even with estate operations, I mean, 500-inch plus stags are really hard to come by. And actually, we have two of them down there with our partner right now.
Really?
Like two. There are two stags there, periods, that are over 500. So it's not a common thing, that's for sure.
How big is his estate area?
I believe that one's 4,000 to 5,000 acres. And the ranch itself is a working cattle ranch. That's approximately 50,000 acres. And the estate is located right in the center of it. That protects it from any outsiders. If it was right on the edge of the cattle ranch or something like that, visible, then might be a little susceptible to somebody sneaking in there or something like that. It's a working cattle ranch with the guides or ranch hands the rest of the year that manage the ranch, that keep fences tuned up and everything else. Yeah.
Awesome. I hunted a estate stag years ago in Quebec, actually, and I was kind of expecting it to be a little cheesy, to be honest, from everything I'd heard. It was actually really tough, though. Not really tough. It was actually tough, though, or tougher than I expected. Pleasantly surprised with that experience. It was a lot of fun. I do a lot of archery elk hunting, DIY archery elk hunting, and it was comparable. It really was. Other than the physical climbing mountains, packing big packs, it was much like hunting elk. It was an archery hunt too. We called them in. That was awesome. That stag that we were after, our target stag, only got one chance at him, and only got him into like 70 yards. He was sketchy. He wouldn't come any closer than that, calling him in, and then he'd bust. And finally at 70, I have that on video shot. There was a crotch in the tree like this, and his vitals were behind the ear, so I had to aim at the tree with my 70-yard, and I knew it would go up over that. And anyway, smoked him. It was a fun hunt. It was super cool. I really enjoyed it. I would do it again if money was no object, but I am excited about hunting them free range because I think they'll be super sketchy.
Absolutely. Those free range, let me tell you, my friend, they are cagey.
Yeah. I can
Cagey
only imagine. Yeah.
They are hunted by pumas every single day of their life down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of the questions I wanted to address on the podcast too is why go to Argentina for free range red stags? I also wanted to touch on a little bit about my story when I was there last time, and also just kind of both of our plans while we're there. But before I forget, so why go to Argentina for free range red stag?
Yeah, well, because people think New Zealand.
Exactly. And I will say that the two most popular destinations that we send people for red stag hunting is Argentina and New Zealand. And then, of course, followed by areas like Scotland, Quebec, call it Western Europe in general. But the most popular are Argentina and New Zealand. Now, when someone calls us and says, I want to go on a free range red stag hunt, and I'm considering Argentina, New Zealand, I tell them my number one recommendation is Argentina. I say, really? Why? I thought everyone goes to New Zealand. Well, because the reality is the largest free range red stag in the world are typically coming from Argentina. The reason for that is the free range red stag, the stag that were introduced to Argentina way back when, are the Hungarian bloodline, I believe it is, which is the larger subspecies of red stag. Now, the free range red stag, true free range red stag in New Zealand are the Scottish bloodline, which is the smallest subspecies of red stag. So in Argentina, you could have an opportunity at up to 300, 320 SCI free range stag. In New Zealand, the reality is, I mean, top end representative, probably more like 200, 220, because it's that Scottish bloodline. And for reference, our good friend Russ Meyer, who went to New Zealand and hunted free range stag, he killed the largest free range red stag that operator had seen in 20 years. And it was about a 290.
Yep.
So
still a super cool bull or stag.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful stag. I would be happy with that stag in Argentina.
Well, me too.
But what's really important for people just to know and understand about New Zealand is that the government in New Zealand, the way that they manage their game resource is by helicopter culling and quotas there. So they literally cull animals from helicopters if they are outside of a preserve or an estate high fence. Similar to like South Africa, most of South Africa hunting takes place inside of preserves. It's because they are trying to manage their resource. It's the same in New Zealand. There's, of course, some operations that are more of like a small fence versus a very large preserve. But like our operators in New Zealand, I would say most of them are going to be some kind of a high fence preserve. And even if it's 10,000 acres and you can't see the fence, to be upfront, there's a fence there. But it's because they're trying to manage their resource from helicopter culling. So that's kind of dispelling the myth there. And then in Argentina, I would say 90% of the hunts we plan in Argentina are the free range red stags. It's the premier destination for that. Yeah. And then if somebody incidentally wants to shoot a estate stag, like say they take a free range stag and say, I think I'd like something that's a little larger, like that 350 to 400 inch, what have you. Of course, we have those. And whether you go to New Zealand or Argentina, they're both places that you can do a custom package booked that way in advance, or go there for a minimum package and then add on a la carte while you're there. If you want to take an additional stag, the world is your oyster, my friend. If you want to shoot a black buck, absolutely. Add on a water buffalo, absolutely. You want to shoot 2 stags? Yeah, we can make that happen. Either of those places you can go to on a minimum package and add whatever you want once you're there. But like I said in the beginning, I do try to gather some sort of a rough idea of what someone is looking for. So that way I can make sure to schedule on the appropriate date.
So what about, I see a lot of pictures from this outfitter with giant axis deer. Are those axis deer in the estate, or are they free range too?
Mostly free range.
Really?
Mostly free range.
But giants.
Yes, but it's good to touch on that. The area that you and I are going to host our clients is down in La Pampa, Argentina. Now, I described La Pampa, Argentina as kind of like southeastern New Mexico, western Texas type terrain, low elevation, very little topography, heavy brush country, kind of arid southwestern looking, but brush country. And so it's like an archery elk hunt with a rifle for roaring red stags. So if you can paint that image in your mind. And the axis deer are even more difficult than the stag to hunt in this area. There are some free range axis around, and there are some giants. But if someone told me, hey, I want to go to Argentina and shoot a free range axis deer, specifically, I'm probably going to send you to our Corrientes location. And so that kind of ties into our story of what we're doing here next week, actually. Diving into that, I leave this Friday and I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. The first week, our partner and I are going to go tour his other ranches that I haven't been to yet. The first one is in Corrientes for free range water buffalo and free range axis deer. Now, this is kind of a low country, somewhat kind of swampy area even. But that is where some of the largest water buffalo and axis deer reside. And so this is an area where we can realistically plan a free range gold medal water buffalo and axis deer hunt with potential to add on other species like capybara, wild boar. But that's going to be the premier destination for axis deer And I mentioned that since you asked, and also touching into what we have going on the next couple weeks. So that first week, I'm going to do kind of a country tour, see some of his other ranches, and then him and I are going to go back down to La Pampa and meet my clients that are flying in for the week. And then we'll, of course, hunt the red stag and black buck, which those are my top two favorites from the La Pampa area. And then you'll be headed down about a week later with another group of clients at the end of the month. And then you mentioned you think you're going to have Tara hunt the stag and you're going to hunt black buck.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Has she archery elk hunted?
A little bit. Yep.
Yeah, she'll be in for a treat.
Yeah, she's excited. She's nervous. She's all freaked out that, she's nervous. She'll do fine. She's going.
What's she nervous about?
Just missing. She won't. Yeah, not being able to keep up, she's just self-conscious, but she doesn't need to be.
She's going to slap both of us when she sees
She
this.
is. Yeah, she's a big pissed. Oh, wow. Yeah, she will. Yeah, and then I'm going to hunt the black buck. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, man, let me tell you, I loved hunting the red stag down there, but the black buck, I think I would almost go back just for the black buck. It was so amazing.
Yeah. A
The
lot
red
like
stag,
antelope, right?
it's like antelope hunting on steroids. I mean, in one day, we took 6 hunters over to the black buck ranch, which over down there in La Pampa, just so you know, too, the area for black buck, it's more of an open rolling hill plains type country. There's almost no cover in that area. So it's more like open plains antelope country. It is also free range, but it's a few minutes down the road. And it was just amazing. When you pull into the ranch parking lot there and you start blasting in every single direction, you can blast black buck. It was just amazing. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The black buck, they're so pretty, and they have so many different like color phases depending on what stage of the rut they're in. If they're super dark, it means they're rutting more. If they're lighter colored, they're out of the rut, and they're kind of all in different stages of the rut at that time. There's black bucks that have long horns. There's some that have more spirals. There's some that have more mass. I mean, there's different shapes, and they're so cool. They're such neat little animals.
Yeah, I'm excited. How far are the shots for those?
On average, the black buck shot is anywhere from 250 to 350, and it's challenging. But one of the things that our partner does down there, he has 2 rifles that are set up just for the black buck that have dial-up scopes on them. And so you're shooting rifles like 270, 30-06, 300 Win Mag. Those are the rental rifles that they have down there for black buck and red stag. And they have like a dial-up turret for the yardage on the black buck because they're super small. They're a challenging target to hit. Awesome. You'll have fun. When we went down there, we did Black Buck Day. I just call it Black Buck Day because there was like 6 of us that wanted to go shoot black buck. And 2 of the guys in our group of 6 already went for black buck earlier in the week and killed 2. And then they decided, they're like, you know what, we want to go again. In one day, we took 6 black buck. We did 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. And it was so much fun. I was like,
yeah, that's what everybody says. Everybody says the red stags are awesome, but the black buck are just super cool.
Yeah. Well, you go from hunting a very cagey animal in the brush that is very difficult to stalk and intercept and get a shot at, to, I mean, just being covered up in animals all day. And it's like icing on the cake, literally.
Right. A nice break. Nice dessert. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Then touching on shot distance too. The average red stag shot distance is 75 to 125 yards.
Because it's so thick.
Yep. And when I shot my red stag last year, I shot mine at about 45 yards with a rifle while it came in roaring.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It was pretty intense.
I bet. Are they similar to calling? I mean, I know the answer to this, but similar to calling in an elk behavior-wise?
Very similar dynamic. Yeah, and I think I took my red stag on the 3rd day of a 7-day hunt, if I remember right. And I remember the first couple of days, like I'll be honest, I blew several stalks. So you go out twice a day, a morning and an evening hunt on these trips. And then the name of the game is listening for roars, trying to get downwind of a herd and stalking in without them knowing. And then trying to either stalk in and get a shot at them or stalk in close enough and call the stag out. And that's what we did when I got mine, we called him to us. But I blew several stalks, stalking into herds of stags, honestly, the first 3 days. I mean, these animals are just so switched on. Like, you'd get downwind, you'd get within 300-400 yards, you can hear them. You can even like hear them moving around, hitting brush and stuff. You get to about 200 yards, you still can't quite see them yet, but you might start seeing some legs or hooves moving around in the brush. And then all of a sudden, your leg brushes up against a piece of brush and it just goes quiet. And then you hear hope running away. You're just like, you've got to be kidding me. But one time we were at about 150, 175 yards, and you could start seeing the outlines of them moving around, but they couldn't see the stag. And I stepped on a stick and it was like full roar that just said ran. Keep in mind, they're hunted by pumas every day of their lives. And there's a very high density of pumas in these areas, which are like a small mountain lion. For those that don't know, it's so challenging because of that. But that's what makes it fun too. You know, if it was just a kid, they could walk out and shoot it. I mean, that wouldn't make for much of a cool story. And even the estate is challenging as well. Like when someone says, I want to go shoot an estate stag, they're going to be extremely selective, right? You have to decide, okay, what category do we want to go after? There's typically 2 or 3 guides with you to make sure you don't mess up and shoot the wrong one. It's still pretty focused, and it can take up to 2 to 3 days to get the stag that you want. But it's a little bit smaller area. It's groomed a little bit better with less underbrush so you can see more clearly and then get around a little better, which really what they're trying to do is avoid shooting the wrong stag on accident, because that could be a big mistake.
Yeah.
And if they tell you to shoot the wrong one, obviously it's on them, you know, but
Still expensive for them though.
still very expensive.
Yeah, for sure. What species do they have in the estate?
They have the trophy red stag. They have fallow deer. They have mouflon and 4-horned ram, I believe. I think that's it inside the estate. And then outside the estate, they have black buck, axis deer, wild boar, water buffalo, and then the free range stag on the 50,000 acre cattle ranch.
Did you see any boars?
We did. We saw a few. In the early season, in March, it's still a little bit warm. And so the boars are very, very nocturnal. Right. But the boars typically get better a little bit later, like in the end of March, end of April, kind of more that April time frame when it starts cooling off a little bit. So there's a good chance you guys could see them.
Could you go hunt boars at night if you wanted to?
That is the most effective way. They have the option to sit in like a box blind, like an elevated box blind, either for hunters that are lower mobility, that might not be able to hike around as much, or for somebody that wants to hunt boars at night. They have water holes set up with elevated box blinds that both stags and boars will come into. And the most effective way to hunt the water is, of course, at night, especially if you have like a full moon week. Then you can sit there and watch the water hole all night, full moons. That's all. I mean, you can see the outline of animals, no issue.
Right. What about doves and other species of birds?
Other species of birds. So this was really funny when I was down there last time. So there's this invasive species of a small green parrot that are just like the rats of the sky down there. They're just so obnoxious when you're going by one of their colonies, or maybe call it not a colony, but it looks like a colony because it looks like just a beehive of nests off the phone lines and the telephone poles. When you're going by one of those, it's just like, yeah. They're just so obnoxious, and they're in flocks of hundreds. And what happens is they put those giant colonies of nests on the telephone lines and it pulls down the telephone poles. And so they're trying to pull them if they possibly can. So if a hunter ever gets done early and says, hey, I want to go shoot parrots, say, let's go shoot parrots.
I'm hoping to shoot a ton of parrots.
Oh, they'll wear you out, man.
Yeah. Cool.
Bring your shoulder pads. Yeah. That reminds me.
I'm down. I'm down. A lot of people have a problem saying they want to shoot parrots. I don't get it. I'll shoot them all day.
And they're not your pet store parrots, guys. You know, it's like, and there's gerbils and then there's rats, right? They're both rodents, but they're not the same rodents. Yeah.
I ain't scared.
Yeah. And then as far as doves, the doves are better in northern Argentina right now, like in the Cordoba, Corrientes, Entre Rios areas than La Pampa. La Pampa used to have a very strong dove population, but it seems like they've more migrated north. So we typically don't do as many of the dove hunts down south.
Cool.
But there aren't around. When people go to Argentina for dove hunting specifically, we're going to pick an area in the north more so than the south. Because when people go to Argentina for doves, they imagine, you know, just the sky completely filled full of doves and, you know, shooting hundreds.
That's why they go. Yeah,
exactly. You know, whereas down in La Pampa and the southern areas, the dove populations aren't that strong down there. So it's not where I would send a guy that wants to do the dove hunt, to be honest with you.
gotcha. Tara wanted me to ask some girly questions, and I'm struggling to channel my feminine side. How about lodging, food, wine, other activities besides hunting? Is there anything like that?
It's all 5-star, man. So this lodge can comfortably accommodate up to 12. On a normal week, we'll do 8 to 10, but up to 12 for accommodation, both single occupancy and double occupancy rooms. So like you and Tara will have your own double occupancy room. Very nice room. Very, very nice. Your own bathroom, stand-up shower, beautiful thing, beautiful beds, nice mattresses, everything. Nice decor in every single room. The lodge itself is a pretty good sized lodge. It's absolutely beautiful, covered in taxidermy decor. There's an open bar. There's a gaming section of the main floor for like pool table and other gaming activities. There's a big wine rack. There's the main kitchen where the ladies cook all the meals. There's an outdoor family style dining area with an open grill. That's so cool. Like the open grill where they burn the charcoal first to build the coal bed, and then it all falls through the grill. And then they have this open coal style grill for cooking steaks every single night. The meals are typically like traditional Argentinian style meals. So high quality beef. And Argentina is very well known for not only its like local wines, but also it's just beautiful, beautiful beef quality down there. So steaks almost every single night. Sides. I think my favorite meal while I was there last time was just the local beef with some traditional Argentinian chimichurri on top and Guillerme's beer on the side.
Awesome.
The one has Wi-Fi, full amenities, dish satellite, TV,
Laundry service.
How that works. If you want your laundry done, you just take your pile of clothes and set it at the end of your bed every day when you go hunting for the morning hunt. And then the ladies there will do your laundry every day. When you come in from the hunt, it'll be folded, sitting on your bed, just be ready to go.
So I only need to take two pants, 2 shirts, and that should be good. Hunting, right?
Yeah. Like for hunting, I'm going to bring 2 pairs of clothes and then I'll swap them out. And then I'll have a pair of street clothes for travel too.
And it'll be, 85 degrees, maybe low 90s, correct?
Yeah. By the time you guys get there, it might be hovering in the 60s, 70s during the day and then get down to 40s, 50s overnight. But generally speaking, mid-March, you're going to have highs in the 80s to 90s middle of the day, lows in the 50s overnight. So it's warm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And what else? What's that?
Big thing on the hunting clothing. You don't need a lot, but it's recommended to bring, just a basic layering system, soft shell pants that you can hike in, long sleeve shirt. I'm a fan of using like sun hoodies, like camouflage sun
Yeah.
hoodies. So that way
Yeah.
you can kind of pull it up over your hat and then it'll kind of cover your face a little bit. I'll put like a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt underneath a sun hoodie, and that's more than enough to keep me warm walking around in 50-degree weather. And then when it gets warm, you can take the base layer off underneath the sun hoodie and you're good. I'll wear, of course, binoculars and my rangefinder with me most of the time, knife on my belt, comfortable hiking boots that are quiet. Overall, what you need to bring for clothing, think quiet everything. You don't want like nylon, squishy type hiking pants that make noise when you walk. The guides literally are wearing like old school military BDU type clothing and tennis shoes. Like it it almost like looks like they're poor or something like that when you first start hunting with them, until you realize how quiet they are, because they're wearing cotton clothing that does not breathe very well, by the way. Not very comfortable for us, but incredibly quiet. And then like tennis shoes. So like on
I
this
hunt
hunt,
archery elk in tennis shoes a lot.
and it's
They're
quiet.
tough to beat. Yeah.
It's absolutely quiet. But the thing about hunting in tennis shoes down there, it's not recommended for our hunters to wear tennis shoes because there are thorns and they might pick through your shoe. Like a couple times stalking with my guide, he would stop and pull a thorn out of the bottom of his shoe, and they're just used to it, so they don't really care. But I guess if I were to make a recommendation on footwear, I'd say on the lighter end, but it does still need to have enough structure to protect from thorns poking through. So like a lighter hiking boot, but by no means do you need like a full-on Kenetrek mountaineering type boot on these hunts. So
Right.
light and quiet, and especially quiet on the clothing.
Okay. Easy enough, much like
Yep.
Africa.
Yeah, very much so. And some of the guides even wear like cargo shorts and just let the brush scuff up their legs like the African PHs would, because it's
Yeah.
quiet.
Right.
Yeah, but not me. I won't be walking around in shorts with
No, me neither.
my bright white leg.
Yeah. I'm dark white, but my legs are pretty pasty.
Yeah, it would be like a beacon of light walking through the forest with me doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. That's how my dad is. He puts on shorts and man, it blinds everybody. We all make fun of him. It's funny. So yeah. Yeah.
So what other concerns did Tara have?
No, not really any concerns. She wanted to know about the lodge, things to do besides hunting.
Bring your
How?
swimsuit.
Oh, really? Swimming
Yep,
pool?
there's a nice pool area, cabana, good place to read a
Okay.
book during the day. If she wants to take a day off hunting, she can go sit by the pool and read a book or something.
Okay. Cool. All right. Good to know. I didn't know there was swimming pool. How far is the charter flight and what's that entail?
So very good. We're kind of jumping all over the place, aren't we?
Yeah. Do you have it? Do you have more of a structured way to go here?
That's just how both of our brains work.
Yeah.
We're doing it all at random, but we'll touch on everything at some point, right?
Yep.
Bear with us, guys.
Okay.
So the charter flight, that'd be a good opportunity to kind of talk about the hunt program start to finish.
Okay.
So flying into Argentina, it is obviously an international flight, which means you're also going to need a passport. That flight is super easy. It's about a 10-hour flight from the lower 48 down to Buenos Aires International Airport. Now, once you do arrive at the International Airport in Buenos Aires, there will be drivers there to meet you with your name on a plaque. There's people that are with our operation that are ready to pick our clients up there at the airport. If people are bringing their own weapon, there's some additional paperwork that needs done there at the airport, but we also have a VIP service member that walks people through that, so that's no issue. Once you're picked up at the airport, then you transfer over to the domestic airport, where for this hunt specifically, we have a private charter that flies the entire lodge of clients down to La Pampa. That is at the domestic airport, not the international airport. So there is about a 20-minute drive from one airport to the next that our outfitting partner provides the transfer for. So once you get to that domestic airport, you check your luggage in. Honestly, it's kind of casual since it is a private charter. It's not like full-on international security. You show your passports, they verify who's on the manifest to fly down to La Pampa. They get everything loaded up. You hop on the plane. When you hop on this little plane, it looks like about a 20-seater type plane. So it's a medium-sized aircraft. It's not super tiny like a bush plane by any means, but it's a commercial aircraft. When you get on the plane, there's a little cooler sitting next to every single seat with some snacks, a Coca-Cola, and a water for you, which is kind of cool. And then it's about a 2.5 hour flight down there. That's about an 8 hour drive if you did a ground transfer instead. So it's a good little jaunt down there, but also keep in mind that aircraft doesn't move at the same speed as a commercial aircraft. It's going a lot slower. So it takes a couple hours to fly down to the La Pampa province. You'll land at a private airstrip just outside the lodge, and then it's a few minute drive from the airstrip over to the lodge. When you land, the outfitter and his staff are there with trucks and vehicles to transfer people from the airstrip to the lodge. And then, of course, the previous week's clients then go hop on that jet and fly north back to Buenos Aires, do a trade-off. So then once you arrive at the ranch that day, that'll be about mid-afternoon. Once you arrive at the ranch, the outfitter gives everyone a tour of the lodge, the facilities, assigns rooms, gets everyone settled in and laid out. Once everyone's settled in, typically, there's going to be like a charcuterie board, a complimentary drink sitting around, kind of relax, hang out a little bit. He'll feel the group out. How's everybody feel today? Do you guys want to go hunting tonight, or would you like to rest? What do we want to do? He's going to encourage you to go hunting that first night. So the hunting's great in the evenings, and he wants to get everyone out hunting as much as possible. So you'll go check firearms, make sure they're sighted in. Everyone gets assigned their own firearm for the week. If you didn't bring one, then that's your rental for the week. They're nice firearms too, by the way, like Tikas, Brownings, all in like 30-06, 300 Win Mag, that type cartridge selection.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to rent a rifle.
That's what I did too. I mean, I'm a rifle nut, but it's like, man, I can literally travel on this hunt with like a carry-on and boots on my feet.
That's worth something. I agree completely.
I mean, it's so easy to travel for this hunt, just not bring anything with you. I mean, I'll wear my boots and travel, and then I'll have my clothes in my backpack and my roller carry-on bag, and that's it. Like if I need an extra pair of shoes for walking around, I'll throw like a pair of Hey Dudes or something in my carry-on. It's no big deal. You don't need to bring a whole lot with you. They have everything there. Like you said, laundry.
What about the plug-in converters, 110 converters?
So you will need a 110 to 220 volt converter. I can send you personally a picture of what that looks like. But that's a good. Yep. Recommend my clients to buy some sort of like 110 to 220 volt converter off like Amazon, or you can just go ahead and buy like a universal international traveler plug adapter type kit. They're like $30-$40 on Amazon. Tons and tons of options out there, but definitely you'll want to get one of those, bring your electronics and chargers and stuff too.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to have to be doing a little bit of work while I'm there.
Yeah, same. It'll be a work trip for us. It'll be rough.
That's okay. I enjoy what I do.
Me too.
Yep. Could be worse.
Yeah. There's worse things.
Absolutely.
The worst things than being too busy and having to bring work with you on vacation sometimes, because these are work trips for us. This is what we do
absolutely
for. I mean, it's very important for us that we get to spend time with some of our clients in the field, get to go visit and see our partners, make sure we're seeing their facilities. And we like to do this regularly, even though our partner that you and I are going to hunt with, he has been a vetted premier outfitter in our directory for 5 years now?
At least.
But it's important that we go down there and just maintain face. And if anything, see, okay, you've updated this part of the program. We'll make sure we update our advertisements to reflect that. You've added the fire pit out back. Let's get some new pictures of that, whatever, and like the Buffalo and Axis Ranch, that's going to be a new option for us that we're going to start offering here this year. And we might even offer hosted trips in the future for that trip as well, if we have a group of hunters that wants to go.
We might offer a new parrot hunting package.
Yes, we might offer a parrot hunting package, the parrot hunting safari.
I'm in. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah. I cannot wait to see how many parrots you shoot.
I'm going to stack them up.
I'm going to get a WhatsApp text from one of the guys down there and be like, this Cory guy really likes to shoot parrots.
Yeah, they're OI green. So it'll make a good picture.
Absolutely.
Anyway, what about so Tara and I are going, we're landing the night of the 24th and the morning of the 27th, I believe, is when we fly in on the charter. So we're going to be in Buenos Aires for a few days. Well, for a day and a
Yep.
half. We're going, you told me that there's the number 2 steakhouse in the world is in Buenos Aires. So we already made reservations for that. It's actually close enough to our anniversary that's going to be our kind of anniversary dinner. Really, really looking forward to that. Didn't you say, I've been telling people this and it kind of sounds like maybe I'm not telling the truth. So I'm going to ask you here. You had 4 guys, you went to that restaurant, you had drinks, appetizers, dessert, your main course, and it was $90 for all 4 of you?
Yeah, it was 3 of us. So
Great.
last time, this was awesome. When I was there last time, my best friend in the world and his wife, Matt and Lauren from Colorado, they were down there in Buenos Aires at the end of my trip last time because they had won like a multi-species hunt at like a banquet dinner somewhere in the States pre-COVID, and they'd been waiting to go on their Argentina hunt for like 3 years, basically. Well, it just so happened that it lined up perfectly with the time that I was going to be down there. So they weren't with our partner, to be clear, but they were in Argentina somewhere hunting, and they were going to be finishing their hunt at the same time I finished mine, like within half a day. So just dumb luck, right? So I knew that they were going to be there. I scheduled some extra days on the end of my hunt when I was there last year. I think the better way to do it is to schedule extra days on the front of your hunt personally, because
That's
you
where
get there. Exactly. Like you get there, it's new, it's fresh, it's exciting. Let's go see the city before the hunt. After you go hunt for 7 days, you've been away from home, adding on extra vacation after that. I think most people's mentalities, they're probably like, well, we had our fun. Let's get back to reality, not like you don't want to stay longer, but anyways, so it was Matt, Lauren, and I took them to Don Julio, one of the top rated steakhouses in the world. And yeah, we had, I think, 2 bottles of wine, multiple family style sides, and we shared 2 or 3 different steaks and just a bunch of sides and wines and stuff like that. Like with tip, it was like $90.
Wow. So that's incredible.
Super affordable there. And while Matt and Lauren and I were in town after the hunt, we just grabbed an Airbnb that was like closer to some shopping centers and stuff that we wanted to go see. And I think every morning, all 3 of us would go have breakfast with just such fresh, crisp coffee and lattes and like the best avocado toast dishes I've ever had in my life. I mean, just everything's so fresh and pure and clean. It was so awesome. But we'd all go to breakfast for like $15-20, go buy souvenirs at the local market that are like handmade leather goods, stuff like that for just like very, very little money. So
That's great.
it's very affordable to go be a tourist there for a few days. And I should also touch on too, I get asked a lot, is Argentina safe? Is Buenos Aires safe? It's extremely safe. I mean, it's not, it never even crossed my mind if we were in trouble walking around in public, going through like little shopping centers with little shops. We went to nice restaurants. When we went to Don Julio, that was at night. We had like a 10 o'clock reservation there. In Hispanic countries, it seems like they eat their dinners a little bit later because they have the midday siesta. So typically dinner's a little bit later, and they're typically used to like being a lot more social than we are too. So they'll go to a late dinner and then go be social for a few hours to the middle of the night, so it's a little bit of a cultural difference there, but it was very, very safe, very easy to get around.
Language barrier.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
But they are understanding.
Very much so. They're very patient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They were very patient. Yeah. Truth be told, I wish that I had brushed up on my Spanish a little bit more before I went last time, and maybe a little bit this time too, but I took some Spanish in high school and it kind of comes back to me a little bit.
Yeah.
They're patient with you, but one of the things you should do anytime you go on an international hunt download the Google Translate app and learn how to use it on your phone, because you can have good conversations just through Google Translate. Obviously, the Spanish language uses almost the same keyboard as the English language, so you guys can go back and forth pretty easily just asking basic questions. But I mean, even just being able to tell your waiter at the restaurant, I would like my steak served medium rare, versus awkwardly trying to navigate that. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's nice to have that Google Translate.
Yeah. Pictionary gets a little bit old sometimes.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I can't think of anything else. What other questions do clients ask you when you're booking?
We touched on travel. We touched on logistics to and from the ranch with the private charter. That's a very important component, I think, because otherwise, some of the other than private charters, like domestic flights that are scheduled through the airlines, are a little unreliable. So that's one of the reasons we really love this operation with the private charters. We touched on the trophy quality. We touched on the style of hunting. It's really important for people to know that the free range is not a gimme. It's a challenging hunt, and it's a real hunt, and it will challenge you. There's a lot of add-ons. We can build custom packages for these hunts. I'll also mention that I don't know that I've ever had one client go on this hunt out of several dozens over the last few years that has not said it was 5-star and world class. So I think this is a hunt that everybody can do. It can be scaled to all ability levels.
Affordable.
It's affordable. This year's hunt rate, just to touch on that, is $6,900. And that's less than an average elk hunt in North America. And this is 5-star. It is absolutely world-class. Our outfitting partner has received international awards from organizations like SCI and other international hunting organizations. I mean, it is truly a world-class hunting opportunity and at an incredible value. I don't expect it to stay at that sub $7,000 price forever, but it's also not going to go up very much in the future years. I mean, there's very, very, very minimal price increases on that. And that $7,000, $6,900, that covers 7 days, meals, accommodation, one free range stag with no size limitation, a European boar, and the ability to upgrade, add on, take additional animals, customize the package while you're there, everything all in. And you have your own one-on-one guide for that. You have your meals and accommodations. You have cooking and cleaning staff at your disposal. There's on-site, I would call it a skinning shed, which is a facility right next to the lodge, just about 100 feet away, where they prepare all the trophies and everything. So we should touch on that too, the post-hunt expediting.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, post-hunt expediting, what to expect there. After you've taken your trophy in the field, the guides and the skinners will transport it back to the skinning shed, as I call it, but it's its own standalone facility where they're going to butcher the meat, prepare it, do all that stuff. That gets donated to local guides and families, by the way. Per USDA customs, we're not allowed to bring the meat back from Argentina, so it's good to know that your meat doesn't come home with you. But you do get to enjoy as much of it at the lodge as you would like while you're there. So they'll prepare the meat, they'll skin the animal, they go ahead and flesh, turn eyes, ears, nose, lips, salt and dry the capes, and then all the skulls are boiled. So actually, by the time that you even leave the lodge, your trophies are almost prepared and ready to be created and expedited home. But they are stored there at the lodge facility until the end of season. So our late spring, let's call it March, April, May, June. Let's say by May, June timeframe, all of the trophies are transferred back to Buenos Aires to expediters, where then they are handed off to the expediter. The expediter handles all the veterinary certificates. They do all of the exporting paperwork. You'll need to have some sort of an importer like Coppersmith Logistics inside the United States to handle the import. Or if your taxidermist is thrifty enough and knows how to do the import, because there's not a CITES on the red stag, it can technically be shipped directly to them, but it's kind of a longer, complicated process. So just go through an importer like Coppersmith. Generally speaking, within 3 to 6 months post-hunt, typically hunters have their trophies, sometimes as much as a year. Like I think it was 2 years ago, their government was going through a changeover, and so the permits got hung up for a few extra months, and those took a little over a year. But it's a very simple process. It's very African-esque. It's like what you'd call a dip and pack, a boiled skull and a flesh and salted cape get crated, boxed, and shipped to you. Post-hunt expediting cost depends on how many animals you take. I've seen bills as low as $1,500 for creating and expediting fees. I've seen bills as much as $3,500 when people take 5, 6, 7 animals. So it just depends. Yep. That's what that looks like. And then, of course, travel back from the ranch to Buenos Aires, that same private charter that comes in every week. Those hunts are all scheduled on a Friday to Friday schedule. So charter comes in, charter goes out on Fridays. That's why it's a 7-day hunt program. What else?
I feel like we've covered it.
Yeah. We do have
availability. What's that?
I say we do have availability for 2026 as well as 2027 if anyone's interested.
Yep. And we will be I'm not sure I'll be hosting it. Somebody from OI will be hosting. We have 2 hosted slots, correct?
Yeah. Yep. Just depending. I mean, like I said earlier, if somebody wants to go do a certain hunt that I think would be more optimal at a different date, I flat out tell you that. But there's definitely opportunities to hunt with us personally too in the next 2 years. Yeah. And we also could start offering the hosted option up there in Corrientes at the Water Buffalo and Axis Ranch. That'd be pretty cool.
I'd like to do on the second one. I'd like to go check that out. Are you going to be filming any of yours?
No, I'm not planning on bringing camera equipment, but if the scenario is safe, I will have our partner and the guide like try to film it while we're doing it. But as long as it's safe, because the water buffalo they're not like Cape buffalo in that they're very dangerous to stalk, but they do act like a Cape buffalo once they're shot. So when hunting the buffalo, multiple people are armed with 375s, not just the hunter. And it has to be handled delicately. The situation has to be right. So, situation dependent. We'll film a little bit of it if we can.
I have a question. I'm feeling a little bit of guilt. I shouldn't, for not bow hunting. I'm feeling some guilt, and also at the same time, I'm a little excited to not have to just go enjoy myself and have kind of a more laid back hunt with my wife.
Yeah.
If I was bow hunting, if I went just me, like say next year, I would like to hunt buffalo with my bow. That would be, and stags too. What would that look like?
So for the buffalo, several hunters do go hunt the water buffalo with archery equipment. It's just important that hunters know they'll need to bring a setup that's similar to like a Cape buffalo setup. Okay. They are very tough, dense animals, and killing them with a bow is very difficult, as difficult as a Cape buffalo. So you're going to need a setup with like a blade, or what's it called, a grizzly stick type setup.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Most hunters use for Cape buffalo like 800 grain plus.
I've used those. I use that for a giraffe, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So similar African type setup. And also hunters have to know that there is going to be a guide standing right there with a high powered rifle in case things go sideways. And it's a judgment call by the guide if he follows up or not. I know that a lot of times archery hunters do want to make sure that it's an archery only harvest. But our outfitter is very upfront that they're more than happy to accommodate that. They're very good at it. However, it is a judgment call of the guide to follow up or not. And he's going to take his guide's word on it. If his guide says I followed up, and if an archery hunter feels that he shouldn't, well, it's the guide's call. So it's just
as it should be.
As it should be. I mean, they're very dangerous once they're shot. So, it's they don't want to create a safety situation, but it is a good archery hunt for sure.
What about the stags?
On the stags, it can be a good archery hunt too. For my hunters in the past that want to do archery for the free range red stag, I also am selective about dates on that. I feel, and our partner also feels, that going the first half of the rut, so let's say let's call it March 5 through 25th. those are going to be the most archery conducive dates. Much like archery elk, they come into a call more easily at the front end of the rut, I feel, than at the end of the rut. Towards the end of the rut, they've established their harems of hinds. They're going to come to the call left, which doesn't mean it's a good hunt. It's not a good hunt at the end of the rut. It's just going to be a little more rifle conducive towards the end of the rut. And that's feedback straight from the guides, straight from the outfitter. That's my understanding of it with broader research as well. So if a guy wants to archery hunt stag, absolutely. But we're going to put you there on the first 2 weeks, most likely.
And probably, I'm assuming that they would have blinds over water type situations too, if you wanted to do that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if a hunter actually would prefer to hunt over water from a blind, that is actually the best tactic the first week of the month, much like archery elk hunting that first week of September.
Warmer.
It's warmer.
Yeah.
If they're not bugling yet, sitting water is the most effective tactic, or spot and stalk.
Right.
If somebody said, I want to sit water only, I'm going to plan the first week of the month. Or
cool. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. We should start talks to do this same sort of hosted program in Africa.
Absolutely. I've actually been having conversations with some of our African partners. I would absolutely love to put together some hosted trip opportunities with our partner for future seasons. If anyone is interested in that at all, please contact us. We're probably going to get the ball rolling on that based on demand from clients. So we're going to pick some weeks that are going to work for our clients that want to go and do a hosted opportunity, and we're going to build it around our clients.
I can't say enough. I've been to Africa a few times, and I can't say enough about just how pure fun it is. It's just Disneyland for hunters. It's don't wait too long. I hear a lot of people say I'm going to wait to go on that. You'll regret waiting too long. Trust me. So yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people miss the boat on.
I think so too. And, I myself even am guilty of that because I really want to go to Africa someday. Me personally, developing my career and being selective on, where I budget my time and finances to go see. Like, I've done a lot of stuff in North America. I'm going to continue to do a lot of stuff in North America. We're exploring Argentina more and more each year, exploring Asia more and more each year. Honestly, I think Africa is a little left out on my schedule. And I'd absolutely love to go to Africa and host clients and experience that for myself. It's a big world out there. We all want to see a lot of it. We just have to make it happen.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot to explore. I'm also going to touch on the OI Draw. If you haven't heard about it, I feel like we have a pretty cool program going. We are basically raffles on fully guided hunts and fishing trips. We just gave away a fishing trip in Mexico for sailfish and rooster fish. Awesome trip. I've been on that one twice. Very cool trip. Right now we have open draws for a DIY caribou hunt for 2, a fully guided Alaska moose grizzly combo. We have one more, and a DIY Sitka blacktail hunt for 6 hunters. What makes our draws cool is we've capped them. So the odds are transparent and you can purchase as many entries as you want. And for example, and the price up per entry depends on the price of the hunt. We have to cover the price of the hunt and make a little bit of money, but we're trying to make somebody's day, and somebody who maybe can't afford it or can, they get to go on an amazing trip. I can't remember what our caps are. I'm not looking at it, but the Alaska moose hunt, for example, is $100 per ticket. It's a moose grizzly combo. And I think it's capped at 300 entries. It's pretty good odds. We don't draw the winner until the cap is met. For every $100 that you spend in the draw, you get a chance, kind of like a bonus point system. For every $100 you spend, you get a chance to win $20,000 in booking credits with OI. We've just added a new insider program, which I haven't even talked to anybody about. For $8.99 a month, you get an automatic bonus point for each year towards the $20,000 for each year that you're an insider. It's a subscription-based $8.99 a month. In addition to that, you collect an additional bonus point every year. Once you draw the grand prize. If you draw the grand prize, your bonus points start over. On top of that, you get a discount on all of your applications, but you still get credit for the full retail amount of per entry. So let's say that the Alaska moose hunt is, you get a 20% discount. So instead of $100 per entry, it's $80. You're going to get a discount per ticket, but you're going to get credit for $100, the regular price. And so that will go towards your additional bonus points for the $20,000 grand prize. On top of that, we're going to start soon for the insiders, $1,000 booking credit monthly giveaway. So you have to be an insider to be part of that program to win $1,000 in booking credits with Outdoors International. We're giving it away every month. 20 grand in booking credits once a year. So it's a pretty cool program. The way to play it, in my opinion, the DIY caribou's for 6 hunters. So gamify it. Get 5 of your friends. You all decide, all of us buy $500 worth of tickets. I can't remember how much that one is per ticket. I think it's 25 bucks. So you have lots of chances. And if any one person in your group draws, you all go. It's for 6 hunters. The caribou hunt's for 2 hunters. You can do the same thing there. Get your buddies to put in. If one of you draws, you all go. Cool. We tried to build it that way so that it incentivizes you, once you've bought your tickets, to spread the word, because we don't draw the winner until all the tickets are sold. All the entries have been purchased. So go spread the word, share it with your buddies, and the sooner it draws, the sooner we draw a winner and we start a new one over. If you don't draw, you keep your bonus points. Kyle, you have a coupon code. Do you know what it is?
Don't right offhand, but
okay. Maybe I'll put it in the description of the video.
Please do.
Yeah. So that coupon code, I believe it's $25 towards a draw is what I think it is, if you use Kyle's coupon code. Anyway, I'll put that in the description. Do you have any questions? Did I explain that well enough? I'm trying to work on my elevator pitch for the draw.
Yeah, I think you did a good job. It's just important for everyone to know that on the draw, it's a draw that is set up with a number of tickets, not a deadline to buy tickets. The deadline, the time frame is reached once the tickets are purchased. So I had a client of mine, he wanted to buy tickets for one of the fishing trips, and there was 750 tickets. And he said, well, I don't know if I want to buy any tickets now that there's 750 sold. Like, well, whether you buy the first or the 750th ticket, the odds are the same. The law is concluded when all of the tickets are sold. Some of these draws have taken days. Some of them have taken up to a year almost. Like our Mexico bighorn sheep hunt, that took just under a year to completely close out, right? And it
Which
went
surprised me.
Well, it went through like spurts. Like we'd have a third of the tickets get bought in 1 month, and then it would kind of peter off for a few months, and then we'd get another surge. And like right towards the end, it built a lot of momentum to where I had people calling me almost daily, like the week after it closed, saying, hey, where's the bighorn sheep drawing? I wanted to buy a ticket for that, because it gained so much momentum once it did. And it's a newer program for Outdoors International, so it's going to take some time to build some momentum, but it's a great program.
I'm excited about it because I feel like it's really fair. It's a way for the blue collar guy, which you and I really both are, to go on an amazing guided hunt.
Absolutely.
And not to say that somebody can afford it could also win it. That's great too. But it gives guys like us a chance to, we're eligible, of course, but blue collar guys gives them a chance to win a great hunt with good odds, that we're just not stacking the ticket sales and the odds are terrible. So I think it's,
yeah, it's very fair, because if there was a time limit on it, then like for that bighorn sheep draw, we could have sold 300 tickets or we could have sold 3,000 tickets. But it's capped, it's fair. You know the statistics going into it. It allows you to be calculated. And I mean, that's actually probably the best way to go on a sheep hunt right now with the low draw odds. I agree. I know people that just do draws and raffles. And I have a friend of mine that's been on 3 separate hunts that he's drawn in raffles, and he has less than the cost of one doll sheep hunt invested into 3 different sheep species right now.
That's amazing. That's
Plays the game.
well, the guy who drew our Mexico desert sheep hunt, he earlier in the season drew a
Stone sheep.
stone sheep hunt at the sheep show. So he's going to go get his desert and his stone sheep this next season, both on raffles. Yeah. Yeah. So I agree.
Got to play the game.
That's right. So anyway, go to our website, Outdoors International, just search us online and you'll see up in the upper corner, win a free trip. And I guess it isn't technically free. You have to buy a ticket. So consider the OI draw. Go look at it. I think it's a good program too.
Absolutely.
Or the insider program. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Consider both. When in doubt, both.
Yeah. They work together.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that's it. So to recap, we talked about our Argentina trips, plural, coming up, the tour that we're getting ready to do, the hosted trips we're getting ready to do. This is the pre-hunt podcast for those trips. We'll have another podcast post-hunt. We talked about the OI draw. We talked about other trips we'd love to host in the future for Africa. There's so much I could expand on there.
Oh, me too.
There's so many hosted opportunities. I'll even throw it out there. If somebody wants to go on a hosted trip, give us a call. If we have a group of people that want to go on a hosted trip, we just need an excuse. So I would love to host trips for Russian brown bear in the future. I would love to host trips for Tajikistan Marco Polo. That's a big one. But yeah. I need to take a couple of hunters for me to go ride along and see it to make it sense, have it make sense for me. Same deal with the brown bear. Really, almost anything. Those are just 2 examples that are at the forefront of my mind. But yeah, to wrap things up with the podcast, we will have another podcast after this one. That will be the post hunt, where Cory and I, we're going to tell our stories about my country tour, my hosted trip, Cory's hosted trip. And I can't wait to hear how Tara does on the red stag hunt.
I'm excited about that too.
I'm really excited. I really want it to be a special trip for you guys.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for helping us set it up.
Hey, my pleasure, man. I hope you guys get everything out of it that you want, and hope you guys, well, I know you're going to have a good experience. We haven't had anybody that has not had a good experience. It's impossible to have a bad experience that are lodged down there. But I want Tara to shoot a giant free range stag, and I want you guys to chase black buck and just have the time of your lives and go wine and dine yourselves. You guys work hard for it.
And don't forget the parrots. That's right. Yeah. All right, man. Well, I've got lots to do today.
Yep. Same here. Let's get to work, boss.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
I'll talk to you later. See ya.